Picture this, someone is about to buy an air conditioner and it's not a small purchase. So the air conditioner which they buy will probably stay on the wall for years. So they want to get it right. So 5 years ago, people would basically walk up to the store and check out which AC is good, or they'll probably make a Google search and find out the best AC brands in India. But today, customers would most probably open up ChatGPT and ask which is the best AC brand in India. So things have changed. The AI will come up with a list of 3 or 4 AC brands, and it will be like a recommendation coming from a friend. So you won't have to browse through 10, 20 links, which was the case when you were asking the question to Google. But now you just have only 4 or 5. Now, if you are an AC manufacturer in India and your name does not show up on the list, then your customers will never know about you, because this is becoming the default way customers discover businesses. So here's the question we'll try to answer today. So when a customer asks a question or a recommendation from ChatGPT and he's asking question related to your category, does your brand name show up? So that's what we'll be measuring, and we'll be doing it by building a simple tool with the help of AI. So before we start, let me give you a quick example of how it would look like if your customers are asking some questions to ChatGPT. So I'm here on ChatGPT and I'll ask, what is the best AC brand in India? And then it will come up with a list of brands. So Daikin, LG, Panasonic, these are the top ratings as per ChatGPT. And now let's look into what we will be actually building today. So we'll be building a very simple tool, and the tool will basically do this. On the tool, you'll be describing your business. You'll be telling the tool about your business, like in which category you are operating and what product or service you are selling. The tool will take this input and it will then give you a list of 5 questions that your customers can ask to the AI. Now we'll make the tool configurable so you can easily increase the question count over here. And then when we have a list of 5 questions, the tool will basically ask all of these 5 questions to an AI agent about 20 times. So we'll be doing it 20 times because the response from an AI is non-deterministic. So if you just ask this question again, so which is the best AC brand in India, at the second iteration, the AI can give you different brand names. So that's why we want to ask these questions 20 times, and then we'll basically measure. In the last step, we'll basically measure how many times your brand name shows up, and that will give you an idea of whether your brand is being named by AI or not. So by the end of this video, you'll have a tool that you have built yourself where you can describe your business, and then the tool will give you how many times your businesses show up when asked to an AI assistant. So now let's get started. Now, before we start, this application is going to be a full stack application. That means that there is going to be a backend and there's going to be a front end. So the backend of an application is the part that contains the logic. So that's where you'll be calling the different APIs from these AI providers, and you'll be doing your calculations, like you'll be counting how many times your brand name shows up. So all those kind of things will reside in the backend, and all of the UI side, wherein you'll be entering your business description, and you'll be basically increasing this question count or this iteration count over here, that will be there on the UI. So that is called the front end. So we'll be building both of these parts in today's video, and we'll be using Claude Code for that. So we will be using Visual Studio Code, which is a very popular IDE, and we'll be using the extension of Claude Code over there. So let's get started. You should have Visual Studio Code installed on your system, so you can easily do that. Okay, so I've opened up Visual Studio Code on my system, and I already have the Claude Code extension installed. Now, if you don't have it, you can just search for Claude Code in the extensions section over here. So you can just search for Claude Code for VS Code, and then you can easily install it with a single click over here, right? So now once you have it installed, you can just open up a single folder on your Visual Studio. So I'll just open up a folder. I've opened up a folder called AEO-tool. So what is AEO? So AEO is answer engine optimization. So all of this is called AEO. So if you are trying to optimize on how your businesses or how your product is being answered by any of these AI assistants, then it is called AEO. Now what I'll do, I'll just close these release notes, and this is an empty folder that we have created over here. And let's first of all start by setting up our code. So we will have a front end and we'll have a back end, as I've told you before. So let's start by setting up our repository, and we'll be using Python for the backend, and we'll be using React.js for the front end. So let's ask Claude to build a very simple front end and a backend folder with all of these libraries installed, and let's try to get it working. I'll say, please create 2 folders, front end and backend, and the backend will be in let's go with FastAPI. So it's basically a framework for building APIs quickly in Python, and I just want a basic setup for now, and then start the servers. So what I've told AI is to basically create these two folders and help me set up these repositories and then start the folder so that I can open it on Chrome and just validate whether everything is working fine. And once this is done, we will then proceed towards building the first part. So if you go back to our diagram over here, so the first part says to describe your business. So basically we want to have a form on our tool wherein people can describe their businesses. And once they have described their businesses, we should give them 5 questions which their customers might ask AI. So we'll do that next. Okay, so the AI is done running and it is saying me that the backend is running on this location and the front end is running on this location. So let's quickly copy this URL. Let's go to our Chrome browser and we'll open this URL, and over here it says AEO tool backend. Okay, and let's try to open up the backend as well. So this is basically a FastAPI server and it returns the message of AEO tools API. So we have our basic setup working fine, and now let's tell AI that what we actually want to build so that the AI has more context about it. Now when you're building with AI, giving context to the AI is very important. So try to be as elaborate as you can and try to be as clear in explaining what your requirements are to the AI so that your output is better. So I'll say I am building a tool for AEO. I'd like to now build the first part where there is a form on the UI that takes in the business description from users, and then it presents a list of n, and in bracket I'll specify this is configurable via the UI, and so it presents a list of n questions that the customers of the user's business can ask AI. We'll build the next features, next parts later. For now, only build this feature. So what I'm asking AI to do right now is to basically build the first part of our AEO tool, and where the person enters their description of their business and it returns a list of n questions that their customers can ask the AI agent. Okay, so as I was just explaining you that you should be elaborate and clear when you are explaining your requirements to the AI. So the AI took a different route this time. So it is now building the integration for Anthropic, but I would like to build an integration for Gemini. So it's free to get a Gemini API key. So that's why I wanted to show you using Gemini. Can you please use Gemini instead of Anthropic? So this is something which I should have told in the first place, but I actually missed this point. So that's why I'm telling it right now. So the AI will actually change the implementation that it has written so far, and it will now write the integration for Gemini. So what is happening in the backend is that we will be using Gemini API keys, and the AI was initially planning to write the APIs for Anthropic. So that's the change that we did right now. Okay, so while the AI is writing code for us, let's quickly see how we can obtain a Gemini API key. So I'll go to Chrome and I'll make a quick Google search Gemini API key, and we should be redirected to this website, which is aistudio.google.com. Get started. So you'll be redirected to this page and you can click over here, get API key, and then you can click on create API key to create a new API key. Okay, so we have created a new project called AEO tool, and let's call the API key as Gemini API key, and then we can just click on create key, and this will give us a fresh API key. So remember to always keep your API keys secure and don't share it with anyone, because in case if you have billing enabled, then someone can use your API keys and you can be billed for that. Now coming back to VS Code, it is still running, but I think it is almost done. So we'll then copy the API keys and paste it at the right location where the AI tells us. So it says that UVCon auto reloads 2 nodes. A model is this one, which is 3.6 flash, and we have a .env file. Now we can just go to backend and we can go to app, and there should be a env file. So there's no env file right now, so we'll create it ourselves. So we can do it by right clicking over here, a new file, and we'll call it .env, and we'll hit enter. So to give an example, we already have a .env.example file. So let me just move it at the right location, which is inside of the backend folder. So it is asking me to move. So now we have this env file at the right location. And if we see an example of what all variables are required in this env file, which is this. So this is an example, right? So we'll just copy this example and we'll move it to .env and we'll paste it over here. So just to explain you better, this env file stores all of the secrets, and this is not committed to GitHub or this is not shared with anyone. So in the env file, we'll have to paste in our Gemini key, which we just got. So we'll go back to Gemini, we'll copy the API key and we'll paste it over here. And the model that we'll be using first is Gemini 3.6 Flash, and see if it works, because not all models work with the free plan. So we are currently on the free plan, right? So I'm not sure if this will work or not. Let's test it out. So we have the API keys now. We can just go ahead and ask the AI to refresh this servers, right? So I have my API keys in the .env file now. Please restart the server to take it into effect. And then I'll hit enter. Okay, so the AI is done running, and it has also done a test run for us. So let's go back to Chrome and let's see how our UI looks like. So this is our UI and it looks pretty decent. So let's test it out ourselves. I own a digital marketing company in Bangalore, and it's called, let's use the name Scribble. It's called Scribble Media. So it's not a real business, of course, it's a made up name. So it's called Scribble Media, and I help businesses with digital marketing. So that's it. I'll just go with 5 questions for now, and I'll click on this button, which is generate questions, and let's wait for the response. So ideally we should get 5 questions that my customers can ask AI assistants. Okay, so after a few seconds, I got back 10 questions that my customers can ask AI agents, and we can then proceed to the next step. So we are done building this part where we describe our business and the AI gives us 5 questions. So for the example, we saw 10 questions, and now let's move on to the next part, which is ask each questions 20 times, right? So that's what we'll be doing next. And at last, we'll be measuring how many times a business is named by AI. So that's what we'll be doing in the last part. So let's move to our Visual Studio Code. Let me show you the prompt that I'm typing. So we ask these n questions, where we ask these n questions about k times, and then the AI should tell me how many times my business name appears in the results. Now there are a few ways in which you can achieve this, and I'm talking about this last part. You can either ask an LLM and ask it to count how many times your business was named, or you can do via code as well. So we'll try to do it via code first, just to save some cost on tokens. So we will count the number of times my business is named by using Python code and not an LLM. I should be able to see all the answers of all the k iterations for the n questions. So I should also be able to see the results that I've got for every iteration. So by that I mean, let's say we ask this question 10 times, then I should be able to see what the answers were for each of these 10 iterations. So that's what I'm asking the AI to implement over here, and now we can just hit enter and wait for the AI to finish writing the code for us. Okay, so there are some follow-up questions by the AI coding agent. So it's asking for counting whether your business is named in an answer. How should the matching work? So name plus aliases, fuzzy tolerant. This is the recommended approach. So let's go with this approach. Okay, so now the AI asks me answers are generated with real API calls. How should the run behave? Stream progress via SSE, this is recommended, or single block request. So I'll just go ahead and go with the first recommended solution that the AI is recommending me. Then I'll submit the answers, and then let's wait for it to finish. Okay, so after a few minutes, the AI is done running, and these are the results. It says your Gemini key is on the free tier, so 20 requests per day is what they allow right now, but our application will require more calls, right? So let's say we ask it to generate 10 questions and then do 20 iterations for it, then it'll be about 200 calls, right? So we don't want to do that because currently we are on the free plan, but it says that these are already consumed from the last run. So let's try that anyway. I'll re-ask my query in Bangalore called Scribble Media. I help busy entrepreneurs with digital marketing. Okay, so let's hit this button, and let's go with 5 questions for now, and let's hit this button and let's see what the output is. And it says that you exceeded your current quota. So what I'll do now is that I'll use a real API key with billing enabled so that we can just try out this example. Okay, so what I've done now, I've put in a real API key for Gemini in my project, and then I'll ask the AI to restart the server. Please restart the server. I have updated my Gemini key, and then let's wait for it to restart the server. Okay, so the AI has restarted our server, and it has also done some test calls, and now let's try to do it via the UI. So I'll just refresh this page and I'll paste in the query. So I've just copied it and I've pasted it over here, and let's go with 5 questions to start with, and let's hit this button, and now it'll give me a list of 5 questions that my customers can ask. Okay, so now we have a list of 5 questions that my customers can ask, and let's read one of them. So I run a growing business in Bangalore and have zero time to manage our online marketing. What is the best place? Okay, so these are the types of the questions that we are getting over here, and now it is asking me to check the AI visibility. So asking me for the business name and also count, so a comma separated alias for you or your domain, example ACME. Okay, so it'll basically check for a count of these values. So let's say if I say that my business is scribblewithai.com, so my tool will actually check for that keyword, which is scribblewithai.com, but my business name could be Scribble, right? So that's what this tool is doing. So let's say my business name is Scribble. So right now it will not show any count because there is no real business with this name, I hope. Okay, so for times to check each question, so let's go with 15 AI calls. So I'll go with 2. Let's go with 2 iterations, and then we'll do run visibility check. So let's see what the output is. So it is currently running at the moment, and this will basically stream the response from the backend. So there is an API call that is happening in our backend, and whatever response it is getting from the backend, it will just stream the response to the UI. And you can see that we have already run 5 iterations out of the 10 iterations that we will be running. Of course, the score will be 0. So let's let it complete, and we can just expand it and expand it to see the answer. Okay, so it says run 1 not mentioned, run 2 not mentioned because we don't have any real business. So we'll try that with a real business. So let's see the answer. Okay, so in this one, it did not name any business. Okay, it says, okay, partner with a specialist Bangalore. Okay, so it did not name any of the businesses. Okay, so is it better to hire in-house marketer? Okay, so it looks like for the first query, it did not generate any of the business. So let's have a look for the second one, and it's saying in-house marketer. Then we have this business as the first one, right? Boutique digital marketing agency. So the cost is probably taken from their website, and so these are the 2 things that the AI is suggesting in this iteration. And let's see the second run. And over here it says there's no one size fits all answer. Okay, hiring an in-house marketer, and again it did not name any business in this iteration also. Okay, so let's check for other questions very quickly. So what brand, assets and account? Okay, so let's see the answer. So I think there is no business name mentioned over here. So let's do one thing. We'll ask the AI to refine our prompts. So we will say my tool will be used for AEO for businesses, but it looks like the answers that we got from AI doesn't contain any business names. I think the questions that are generated are not good, and they don't return business names. So we'll hit enter and let's wait for it to finish. So what I'm asking the AI to do right now is that even though the tool is returning response and everything is working fine, it is not returning the real business names. And that's what we are actually measuring in this tool. We are measuring the number of times our business is named. So it does not do that properly. So we have asked the AI to improve upon it. So let's wait for it to finish. Okay, so the AI is done running, and it has basically updated some code and the prompt. So let's retry our query, but this time I'll put it in a real business that exists in Bangalore. So I'll just copy this prompt and go to our UI. So let's refresh this page, and let's paste in the query, and let's go with 5 questions, and let's hit this button. And now we'll get a list of 5 questions. Okay, so now we have a list of 5 questions, and the first question is which digital marketing agencies in Bangalore specializes in helping early stage entrepreneurs grow online. So you see that all of these questions are now very focused towards business names. So now let's scroll below and let's enter the business name as this one. So we'll copy it, we'll paste it over here, and let's go with iteration of, let's say we'll go with an iteration of 2. So two iterations for each of these 5 questions, and then we'll hit run visibility check, and let's see how many times the AI answers this business's name. So this time as well, the results were 0%, and the reason could be that the model is not aware of this business name, which is DigiKit, and even though it shows up on SEO. So we'll just expand the answers, and let's show the answer, and let's copy this name, first launch, which is a business name, and let's replace this name everywhere. So we'll do it over here, and then let's hit this button again. And then let's try with this business name and let's see if our product is working fine. So it has given me 5 questions now, and we'll replace this business name, which is first launch. And now let's hit this run visibility check button. Okay, so now we have our scores, which is 50%. So we were answered in 5 out of 10 questions. So this business was named in 5 out of 10 iterations that we did. And this confirms that our product is working fine and we can use it to actually test for our business. So now if you're a business owner, you can just go through the questions for which your business was not named, and you can basically optimize your landing pages and your online presence around that question so that you show up for those kind of questions as well. Okay, so that was it for this video, and in this video we actually built a real tool that can help us give our AEO score. Okay, if you found the video helpful, you can click on the like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you have not yet built your first AI app, you can check out my short course on building your first app with AI. Or if you are a business owner and you want to directly use this tool without having to build it yourself, you can just click on the link that is there in the description. So that is it for this video. See you in the next one.